Pictures of you you've obviously, you hang out in Mar-a-Lago, you know the family, you know Laura Trump, I see UFOs all the time. You shared something with me about how the media spins stories about her and that saying that she was having a concert. But what was this specific story about? I want you to let the people know.
Well, what bothers me the most is that you see the disparate treatment between the Biden children and the Trump children. You know, okay. Hunter Biden gets a pass. He's an addict, which sort of absolves him from any liability. They literally run cover, but if the shoe was on the other foot and it was the name Trump, they would be trying to throw him in jail and vilify him. So on Thursday of last week, Laura and Eric Trump hosted Curativity, which is a charity for childhood cancer benefiting St. Jude's Hospital.
Beautiful.
We're talking about kids with cancer.
Amazing.
And the charity wanted Laura, who just did a cover of Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down, just sing her song in the middle just to entertain the guests. I was there. It was absolutely beautiful. But the next day, Newsweek, I guess, gets a hold of pictures. They want to absolutely demonize her. They don't really reach out for comment. I guess, let's call it noon, they send her a direct message on Twitter. They don't reach out to any team. They don't reach out to the campaign. They don't reach out to PR people. Direct message, hey, we're going to write the story. 1 hour later, story published, vilifying her, saying that she held a concert and there was like 10 people. It was just us in the front, like just dancing. This was a charity event. It was an intimate gathering. But what's most bothersome about this is that, you know, they raised over $2 million for children
for kids
who
with
have
cancer. Wow.
And when she got up there, after her one song, which was beautiful, by the way, she did a call to the heart and basically said, does anyone want to give to this cause? Come on. And then I think they raised another $400,000.
Jeez.
So we're talking about someone that just wants to help children, but instead of our media saying, wow, these people are helping families in need and children who are struggling and potentially dying, they want to demonize a family. And during the campaign, because they knew Eric was on the board of this charity, the charity was plagued by so many lawsuits attacking them for absolutely no reason that they had to spend a lot of their valuable resources, not on kids with cancer, but defending lawsuits.
Unbelievable.
Wow. I wonder how many people that wrote that article have contributed to children with cancer.
Yeah. Right? Like, can there be, when it comes to media, when it comes to Karine Jean-Pierre, all these people that are spewing fake stories and lies, there should be, not like arresting them, but why not do something where you have to get fined or pay some, because think about it, if you're knowingly reporting false shit to influence people and we catch you, you get fined, Brenda.
No, because then we're as bad as they are. I think you have to let the marketplace dictate.
But here's the thing though, the marketplace, I think, the only reason I disagree.
Community notes. What about community notes? How on Twitter,
I would love
the community notes.
They're great.
Anything to hold these people accountable, because it's not stopping.
No, a station called NewsGuard. Look into it if you haven't heard about it. Basically, they're controlling the narrative and labeling, whether it's like Candace Owens or probably you guys soon, they're sort of labeling you hostile and then completely wiping you out. Look into NewsGuard. You'll be very, very scared. They talked about it at the Dennis Prager's gala last year in Palm Beach, and I hadn't heard of it. And it's basically in schools now that kids can't use, if they're looking up certain things, X, Y, and Z won't show up because it's essentially conservative.
Wow.
So the more that these things go on, the more exposure that it gets. I think as much as I would love to see these people fined and ruined and destroyed, I think that's more censorship, and we don't combat censorship with censorship. As more and more people wake up and they realize what's going on, we just have to pray that things will change and things will get better, because as of right now, there's been so much, the liberals control Hollywood. They control sports. They control music. They control the media. They control everything. And yet we're still having people like Tucker reach so many audiences and James O'Keefe reach so many households that I do think that the change that's bubbling underneath is bigger than we think, because we don't all have access to each other. And the more that we do to get that access, the better it's going to be.
When I first got here, my attitude was very bleak. It was very like, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway, and we're blah, blah, blah. But then Pat kept saying, the future is bright, don't have hope. You have to get involved. You have to get, vote and make a change. I do feel it's like we're slowly starting to come out of it.
In areas. Because you came from California, so you came from a state that was locked down for 2 years. I mean, you weren't able to go out unless you had a mask. You had to have a vaccine card. You moved to Florida, and all of a sudden you feel this optimism when you're
Big
here.
time.
I think that's going to happen. I think you're going to see that across the nation, where areas like us in Texas, where those people are more optimistic about the future because they have a better life right now.
People that vote for Adams, it was sort of a bait and switch. I knew a lot of Republican New Yorkers that thought, well, he's going to usher in a new era of
Tough
change.
on crime.
And then none of that happened.
Yeah.
And also where I'm originally from in Philadelphia, they realize that if you vote for a Republican, it's a wasted vote. But if you choose between these least worst option of Democrats, it's going to get better. And that doesn't work either. You have to sort of say, we are going to break the system. We are going to get a good Republican candidate. We are going to vote for the Republican. We aren't going to fund these Democrats. And that's what I try to tell them. But they think the pendulum is so far swung that they can't bring it back. But on an optimistic note, in places like Florida, the people that came here during the pandemic were like, we can't take these policies. The people like, we want our kids to learn the right things in school. Florida is registering Republicans like 9 or 10 to 1.
And
Florida is more red than like Arkansas now because everyone that wants to be here, it's like, I saw what it was like in New York. I saw what it was like in Philadelphia. I had to leave my home, take a loss on my property, get my kid into a school to be here, and I'm going to fight for this state.
And I don't know if New York as a state will wake up, but people within inside the state, because look at this right now. We have 5 people on this panel. Rob sitting in the back. Not one of us was born and raised in Florida, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, Jersey. Not one of us, but we all migrated to a place where exactly. So maybe it's not that these states save themselves, but it's the people inside those states who gravitate towards more like-minded people, and we have a more optimistic and better life regionally.